What's going on, Alabama fans? This is Brandon, aka Fresh, COO of Tustin, Alabama, coming back in with another video, guys. I appreciate all the love that I've received so far. Again, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. Last video was absolutely killing it. Last two videos, but definitely the last one, you guys really showed a lot of love. Keep the love train going. So again, when you hear my voice, go ahead and click the like button. Don't hesitate. Just go ahead and do it. Just show love. And much appreciated. Today's video, guys, I want to touch on Jermaine Burton. All right, I want to touch on Jermaine Burton and offer a little bit of insight as to what I believe you'll see from Jermaine Burton this year. And again, I try not to go into a whole lot of comparisons because you never really know what a player is going to be. You never really know what a player is going to pan out to be. In this case, we do have actual documentation of him with 2 seasons at Georgia, playing at the absolute highest level, highest conference, and was a critical piece in Georgia winning a national championship, first national championship in over 40 years. So much to be respected and commended for his efforts in allowing the Bulldogs to defeat Alabama, much to the chagrin of many Alabama fans in this most recent national championship. But he's not with Georgia anymore, and he is now with Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. And from what we have heard from spring practice, based on what Nick Saban has said about Jermaine, and I'll go ahead and put the quote up here on the screen just so y'all can see it. But essentially, what Nick Saban has said about Jermaine Burton is that he has been a player that has exceeded expectations. You see it on tape, you see it in front of you when you play against the guy, but when you have him actually in your hands and in your system, and you can see it up front, up close and personal, there's nothing like that. And I think what he's seeing is, a guy that has done what some other transfers have done in the past with Nick Saban, and having the ability to come right in and make an immediate impact, especially when you lose 2 top wide receivers, one who is for sure first round draft pick in Jameson Williams, John Mechie. I believe at his absolute best pre-injury, I don't think he was going to go any higher than somewhere in the mid-second round at best. I think he's at worst a 3rd round draft pick. And where I have Jermaine Burton based on, my analysis of him is I believe he is, about a step ahead of John Mechie in terms of speed and quickness. So whatever you may have seen and whatever you may have thought of John Mechie, I'll give Jermaine Burton maybe a step. So without actually knowing any data on John Mechie, what he runs a 40 in, I would probably say he's somewhere at best a 4.45, between a 4.45 and a 4.5 flat. So I believe that Jermaine Burton, just from watching the film, watching him play, I think he's probably somewhere at a really high 4.3, but a mid 4.4, somewhere between 4.38 at best to 4.45 at worst 40 time. But I think what you'll see is someone that Bryce Young is going to have a lot of fun throwing the ball to. And I believe one of the reasons that Jermaine Burton decided to transfer from Georgia was in part to play with Bryce. I believe they had a relationship, both California kids. Jermaine is from the Calabasas area. So both California kids, and just having that familiarity with each other, and no disrespect whatsoever to Stetson Bennett, because I actually believe that he is an absolute gamer, and someone who, despite his physical limitations, was able to be very integral in Georgia being as consistent as they were on offense last year, and definitely a winner in his own right. However, when you have someone who, is kind of like a Toyota Camry, no disrespect to those, because those cars are very reliable, which I believe that's what Stetson Bennett is. But then you turn over to a Bryce Young, who is more like a Rolls Royce, Lamborghini, Ferrari type player. No disrespect to the Toyota Camry, but if you take, a guy, you say, hey, which one you want to drive, for the next 30 days, most guys are probably going to say, hey, I'm going to take the Ferrari. Want to have a little fun with that. And I believe that's what you're seeing with Jermaine Burton. That's the reason why he decided to take his talents from Georgia to the Crimson Tide. Now, in terms of his stats from last year, decent stats, nothing, major, nothing to write home about in terms of the amount of production, but good nonetheless, considering, who his quarterback was and the other talents that were on the team. And they had a lot of running backs, really good stable of running backs. But Burton did put up 26 catches for just under 500 yards, 497, 5 touchdowns. So very respectable numbers. The yards per catch definitely stands out. And that's something that is going to be needed because Bryce Young is going to need a possession receiver. He had that with John Mechie. John Mechie started off not as to my liking the first couple games, first 2-3 games or so. Then he really started to hit his stride. And you saw how important he was, especially in the national championship game. You needed someone. Jameson Williams, he was just he's a guy that he just take the top off the defense. So if you get 1 or 2 of those a game, he just makes everything that much easier. But you can't lose both. And having that possession type receiver is something that Nick Saban always values for his offenses. And I believe Jermaine Burton is starting to really take over that spot early on, especially with Ja'Cory Brooks not being able to go in the spring. Ajay Hall obviously being obviously being into the transfer portal after being suspended for a violation of team rules. You're going to need someone to step into a role like that, to be a possession, to be a playmaker receiver. And Jermaine Burton looks to be the next one in line. So that's very much to be excited for if you're an Alabama fan, because you need that. You have a lot of talent in that wide receiver room, but you have not had anyone out of these young guys step up just yet. And not to say that none of them can't. You saw what Ja'Cory Brooks was able to do in limited action. That JoJo Earl is someone that the staff is very high on. Aaron Anderson is a player that the staff so far has been impressed with. Trayshawn Holden has shown himself to be someone that could be a playmaker. But you haven't had someone with that type of experience that you can say, okay, we know without a shadow of a doubt that we can get a first down when necessary. I do believe it's going to be by committee. I believe you'll have Cam Latu be someone that's going to be expected to be a possession receiver from the tight end spot. But knowing that you have someone on the outside that you can get the ball to 3rd and 7, 3rd and 4 if you want to throw the ball, 2 and 9, 2nd and 9, trying to get yourself in either a first down or a very short 3rd down situation. You got to have those guys. And Jermaine Burton, transfer from Georgia, is starting to show himself in these first 2 spring scrimmages, that he is going to be that guy for Bryce Young. Nick Saban very impressed, as again you see the quotes that he has about Jermaine Burton. And when you have someone who says he's been really productive, had 7 catches in the last scrimmage just yesterday, and I've been told that he had a really long reception, about 90 over 95 yards, 97 to be exact, showing a lot of good speed on that. And I don't think he's gonna be Jameson Williams type speed, but speed that you've been used to seeing, like a Jerry Jeudy, someone that can separate himself from the defense. I like his quickness. He has very quick twitch within that. I talked about that phone booth type quickness. I like that aspect about him. I think that you'll see that manifest itself this year. And Bryce Young has a very nice toy to utilize on this offense, along with a lot of other weapons. Don't get it twisted. This is not just some, rinky-dinky, receiving group, but you do have to have a vet in that group that can showcase themselves and separate themselves from the rest of the pack. And I believe Jermaine Burton, based on what we're hearing, based on what people have told me, my sources as well, Jermaine Burton is definitely someone that is everything that you've already seen if you're a fan of SEC football and watched him at Georgia. If you watched him, a few times that he's played against Alabama, he's someone that is going to come in immediately and be an impact from day one for this Alabama Crimson Tide offense. All right, guys, If you like what you've heard, again, don't be shy. Hit the like button, and also make sure you leave a comment below. I love to hear the feedback. I love reading what you guys have to say. Whether you agree or disagree, it's all love. I take nothing personal, but definitely make sure you share this information. Share with your favorite Alabama fans, your college football fans. Invite them to the page, guys. Invite them to the page. We want everybody who wants to hear the information. We got all types of stuff coming. We are literally barely scratching the surface, guys. All right. So if you've been hanging out with us for the past couple of years or so on our YouTube channel, it is only going to get better. All right. So jump on the bandwagon now. Jump on the train now. So we can all be celebrated, because we're almost at 25,000 subscribers. So it'd be great if we can go ahead and hit that number in the next couple of days, because I'm thinking about giving a nice little giveaway to maybe one, at least one for sure. Might even be 2 or 3. It all depends on how fast we get there. Depends on how we feel on this side. But again, follow us on our social media pages: Twitter, TD Alabama Mag; Instagram, TD Alabama Mag. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe. Get yourself a subscription. TouchdownAlabama.com. Inside information. We have an annual magazine. We're looking at potentially doing at least 2 or 3 magazines this year. So if you go ahead and lock that price in, $7.95 a month, $74.95 for a year subscription. Can't beat that, guys. Definitely can't beat that. All right. Again, glad you have stayed to the end. Don't forget to hit that like button. This is Brandon, aka Fresh, signing off.